I guarantee this video will get you results and you will be able to learn Linux after watching this. But you have to pay attention or it won't help you. Right? If you can't do that, go back to your top 5 best Linux command videos and never learn Linux. But if you really want to, and you know you want to, if you're not sure watch this video, then keep watching and I'll tell you exactly how you should learn Linux and what will work for me. Right? So imagine this. I was in my home and I wanted to learn Linux. You know, we had a notebook at home that Linux was installed on, and I was trying it a little bit, you know, install like all those custom themes and stuff, and I really like this, like how you could customize it so much and stuff. So I wanted to get Linux, right? But it took me a long time to get into that. You know, I used it for a while there, I didn't, and then instead of hopping into a VM or anything, I just jumped right into Linux. I reinstalled my computer completely and I went full on Linux. And then I started disliking it. You know, I was missing so many programs on there, and that started to become a real problem. You are recording? You know, that was not good. That was not good at all. I was missing my programs. And so how to fix that? Well, you find alternatives. Okay, but let me walk you through step by step how to do this. So I think one thing I did really well, but most people don't do, is that I jumped right into it. I just reinstalled my computer completely. I had Linux and nothing else, right? I was switching from Windows, no Windows anymore, that was just Linux. And that was it. And I think that's a really good way to learn stuff. Much better than to slowly like, oh, I'm gonna use it in VM and then I'm gonna dual boot and then I'm gonna switch. I don't really like this thing, right? I think what I did was better for me and I learned it quickly. So that's the first thing. Switch right into it. Reinstall your computer. Then what you need to do is quickly get it working so that you can stay with it, right? All the programs you need, find alternatives as quickly as you can, learn them, and you will be fine with this. Because if this is a problem for you, you might not want to use Linux. So this is the first thing, find programs and be sure that you can use it for literally everything. So this is the basics, right? Now you got Linux and you're sure you can use it. So now how do you learn that? Well, you slowly learn more and more commands and stuff, right? You learn about it, you just search stuff. How does, you learn what is the desktop environment, what is a window manager, how to use this command. Learn to use terminal for as much stuff as you can, right? You might not want to do too much from the beginning, but if you feel like it, everything you can do basically in terminal, right? So if you want to do anything, and if you're in a mood like I want to learn Linux right now, or even if you don't, just Google it up like, oh, how do I do this in the terminal on Linux? And you see how to do it in the terminal. So that's great, right? So learn this, and that's basically it. With this way, I was able to go from completely nothing to where I am right now, right? I learned all this stuff. And the reason why I did this, and this is the very important part, why this thing is important, jumping right into it, because I didn't tell you one thing, and that's that I switched back to Windows for a little while, for a few months, and then what I did, no, I didn't slowly come back. I went in a VM. and from basically no experience before, I installed Arch Linux through the terminal. Firstly, I was taking a few days to install it. Then I tried to understand what happened instead of just inputting random commands in. And then I understood it, right? Then I learned about desktop environments because of course on Arch Linux you have to install it yourself. So I learned what a desktop environment is, how easy it is to install, and I learned that it's not tied to your distro like I thought before. Suddenly I could have any desktop environment on any distro. And then I learned about window managers, and that taught me so much more about desktop environments and how this stuff works. And suddenly I knew so much stuff. It was X11 and Wayland and how do like compositors work and what this is for that and that's like, you know. So you basically know how to learn Linux. Just jump right into it and spend time on it. And there is nothing else you can do. I'll just give you useless tips if I told you anything else. Just this simple principle. Use it as much as you can. Is the most important thing. But of course now, there's some stuff you have to be aware of when learning Linux. And what is that stuff? Well, firstly, you don't want to make Linux your entire identity, right? What happened was that I installed Arch Linux, right? And suddenly I was like, oh, I'm an Arch user now. I can do this stuff, right? I can install Arch Linux, and you can't, right? You don't want to become that. You don't want to like be telling, like when you're having, I don't know, some birthday in your family, you don't want to just go there and tell everybody, hey, I use Arch, by the way. What are you doing? Just don't do that. Linux is a tool, an operating system that makes your computer better because it's obviously 100% better than Windows and Mac OS. That's just an objective fact, and yeah. So just do that, and don't spend too much time on it. You know what you can do in your free time when you don't learn Linux, because you don't want to be spending 4 hours straight writing your window manager. Look around me. I'm outside. I can touch grass. When have you done this? Just go outside more, and you will actually learn more Linux from it than if you just stayed at home and learned it, because this makes your brain work better. It makes you healthier, and then you can spend more time learning Linux. When learning it, you're suddenly much more present, and you can learn it better because your brain just works better, right? So that's the important thing. And then the last thing is that you don't want to become like this guy who is like, oh, I use Linux and you don't, which means I am better than you. Oh, you use Windows, I'm better. Use Mac OS, I'm better. Use this beginner distribution, Ubuntu, Linux Mint, I'm better. Because I use Arch with my Rise, I know, whatever people use. I'm free, and it's so good. Well, guess what? I might not be using all the stuff, but I have life, right? I spend a lot of time, and this is very good. You know, you might not want to get on that path. Long time, just being stuck with Linux for months, just making my identity actually, which you might not do, but you know, and I'm not telling you to do it, this is just what I did. I'm just telling you the story, right? And then I was able to learn so quickly, that then After a few months, I go into normal life. I'm outside right now. I'm making video. And I know how to use Linux better than most people do in years. Because they've tried out in VM and then go away and I was dedicated to this, right? So I learned it. And you should do both. You should also do other stuff and not just spend too much time on this. But yeah, if you want to learn Linux, don't make it to be the only thing you do. But when you're on your computer, make it be the only option. 2 simple principles. You're gonna learn Linux. That's it.